Kings Island is a Cedar Fair park located in Mason, Ohio. Located in the same state as Cedar Point, this park does a great job standing on its own with great historical attractions and awesome new ones. Coasters like the Racer and Woodstock Express date all the way back to 1972, but not all of the park's attractions survive that long. So for all you Kings Island fans out there wondering about the park's history, here are 6 roller coasters that formerly operated there. Number 6, Bavarian Beetle. Opened in 1972, closed in 1979. This SDC Zyklon was one of the park's 3 original roller coasters, opening the same year as Racer and Woodstock Express, then known as Scooby-Doo. Photos and video of this ride are pretty rare to come by, and so far the only footage of it is this home video recording on YouTube, and a 2-second clip from a Hanna-Barbera TV movie called The Banana Splits in Hocus Pocus Park. If you were lucky enough to take a photo of this ride when it was around, consider it a very valuable picture. Number 5. The Demon. Opened in 1977, closed in 1987. Back in 1977, Aerodynamics introduced their launched loop model by installing it in 3 parks. There was one at Kings Island, one at Florida's defunct Boardwalk and Baseball Park, and one more at Six Flags New England, then known as Riverside Park. This model used an electric winch launch to pull riders down a hill, through a vertical loop, and back up another hill before repeating the process in reverse. The one at Kings Island managed to operate for a decade before it was relocated to West Virginia's Camden Park. There it would operate for 11 more years before it closed down for good in 1999. Nowadays, only 3 aero launch loops are still operating. There's one at Colorado's Litch Gardens, one at Oklahoma City's Frontier City, and one more at England's Blackpool Pleasure Beach. So if you can get on any of these coasters, you can take pride in having a rare credit. Number 4, The Bat. Opened in 1981, closed in 1983. This was the first ever aerodynamic suspended coaster, and its unique design received plenty of media attention when it first opened. From its awesome looking trains to its intense ride experience, this coaster seemed like a great addition at the time. Unfortunately, it suffered from constant downtime and mechanical problems. The ride's issues were believed to be caused by the flawed brake system and the suspended trains putting too much stress on the track. After just 3 seasons of operation, the park decided that the Bat's issues were too expensive and complex to fix, so it was permanently scrapped in 1983. After the ride's failure, Aerodynamics would continue to work on their suspended coaster model. Thankfully, they ended up fixing many of the flaws that plagued the Bat, and on the 10th anniversary of the Bat's closure, another aero suspended coaster was added to Kings Island. This new coaster was initially named Top Gun, but in honor of the park's history, Kings Island ended up renaming this attraction after the original Bat in 2014. And thankfully, this new Bat is a lot more reliable. Number 3, King Cobra. Opened in 1984, closed in 2001. This was the first stand-up coaster to ever be built in the United States. Opening the year after the original Bat closed, this coaster proved to be far more reliable, and would continue to operate for 17 more years. However, trouble struck in 2001 when the ride's Japanese manufacturer Togo closed its American offices. This made getting replacement parts extremely challenging, and months after Togo ceased operations in America, this coaster was torn down for good and put into storage. The park's former owner, Paramount Parks, attempted to sell the coaster, but it had no luck, so it ended up being sent to the scrapyard. Nowadays, the only way to ride a Togo stand-up outside of Japan is to head to Italy's Cavallino Matto and ride the coaster formerly known as Skyrider at Canada's Wonderland. Number 2, Scooby's Ghoster Coaster. Opened in 1998, closed in 2005. Did you know that Planet Snoopy wasn't always themed to the Peanuts characters? When Kings Island's kids area first opened, it was actually themed to the classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters. One of Hanna-Barbera Land's former attractions was a Scooby-Doo themed ride named Scooby's Ghoster Coaster. This was one of only 9 roller coasters produced by Dutch manufacturer CariPro, a company that was later bought by Vekoma. This suspended family coaster was rather unique in that it actually used an elevator lift to take riders to the top before they went through the course. The ride wasn't anything fast or thrilling, but it served its purpose as a coaster for all ages. However, when Hanna-Barbera Land was re-themed to match Kings Island's other kids area Nickelodeon universe, the Ghoster Coaster was torn down in favor of other attractions. Number 1, Son of Beast. Opened in 2000, closed in 2009. This wooden coaster was so massive and so groundbreaking that it held records that still haven't been broken to this day. It is the tallest and fastest wooden roller coaster ever built. It had a max height of 218 feet and a top speed of 78 miles per hour. Because of its stats, it was the world's first wooden hypercoaster and is still the only one ever built. Son of Beast was manufactured by the Roller Coaster Corporation of America and received mass amounts of hype not only for its record-breaking stats, but for its vertical loop, which was pretty much unheard of on a wooden coaster. While there were other wooden roller coasters in the early 1900s that had loops, the idea of putting an inversion on a wooden roller coaster was revolutionary to people in the year 2000. Unfortunately, despite the massive amount of hype this ride got, its run at the park ended up being a huge disappointment. Not only was this a rough ride, but the coaster had so many flaws in its structure that Paramount Parks fired the ride's manufacturer before construction was completed and later filed a lawsuit against them. To make matters worse, the ride's structural issues led to an incident in 2006 where a crack in a wooden beam caused the trains to suddenly stop, sending 27 people to the hospital. Following this incident, the ride's signature vertical loop was removed, which really hurt its mainstream appeal. After another incident in 2009 where a woman reportedly suffered a brain injury, Kings Island decided to close the coaster indefinitely before tearing it down in 2012. Perhaps the world just wasn't ready for a wooden hypercoaster. Nowadays, the acclaimed B&M invert Banshee stands where Son of Beast once did, and there's even a gravestone honoring the wooden coaster in its queue line. It's really nice when parks pay tribute to old attractions like this.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to subscribe and follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You could find links in the description. This is Theme Park Crazy, and I'll see you all next time.